The Neil Mellor Football Show is sponsored by the Red Balloon Toy Shop, selling classic toys for today's kids. Find us by West Kirby train station.
Hello everybody, Happy New Year to you. Welcome to the first Neil Mellor Football Show of 2014, and what a year it's already looking like it could be for both Liverpool and Everton, and if Tranmere stay up then they'll have a good time as well, no doubt. My name is Simon Ellis-Jones. Me and Mr Mellor here will be with you until the end of the season, bringing you up to date on everything that's gone on the weekend before the show. Is that a Christmas jumper, by the way?
It's a jumper that's been bought in the Christmas sales, so I'm going to class that as that.
Yeah.
I'm sure the viewers will probably prefer my jumper to yours.
I don't.
Unless you're going golf, that is. But Happy New Year to everyone watching.
Well, Mrs EJ will be very upset. This was top present she bought me.
The marquee present.
The marquee present. Now then, we left everyone on just before Boxing Day talking about Liverpool being top of the league and how excited we were. Everton had these two home games, dead cert wins.
Yep.
Didn't quite go to plan, did it, for either side? So what's your assessment of what's gone on for Liverpool first in this Christmas period?
Well, disappointment, isn't it? I mean, we were hoping Liverpool would still be top one or two. We're now 2nd of January and Liverpool 6 points off the pace at the top of the table. Now, obviously, two very tough games in Man City on Boxing Day and obviously Chelsea as well. Two very, very tough games. And I think it was a measure to show how far Liverpool have come under Brendan Rodgers, the fact that we competed so well against these sides. Disappointing thing is the fact we took the lead in both games and yet, giving that lead away so soon before half-time, again, question marks over the fact that we don't keep enough clean sheets. And they're always going to be strong at home. Certainly City are the stronger out of the two home teams. So no disgrace. We've come away from both games showing that we can compete with the big boys. Just frustrating. A few key decisions. If key decisions would have gone our way, then we'd have certainly been getting points in those games. First game, Man City, the linesman, don't know how he calls that Raheem Sterling offside. And then obviously the Chelsea game where, I think Suarez should have a penalty. I think Chelsea should have a penalty as well. But the key issue was Eto'o. Eto'o should have been off the field in the first couple of minutes. He ends up scoring the winning goal in the game. So it would have been a very, very different outcome had Chelsea been down to 10 men for 90 minutes. Yeah,
so those big decisions of, firstly, City game, you mentioned Sterling offside, obviously wasn't.
Yeah.
Suarez, the shirt pull at the end, penalty?
I think, sadly, for us, Liverpool, we have Martin Skrtel, who's one of the worst defenders in the league at that. I really do think that referees need to be brave.
Two wrongs don't make a right, do they?
No, they don't. It was a clear pull of the shirt, but it goes on too much. For me as a forward, it happened all the time. Defenders get away with it far too much. I'd like referees, if it's 3 or 4 penalties a game, just give it. Let these defenders learn that they can't be doing this manhandling. You see it all the time, and it's just not allowed at all. And yeah, we should have had a penalty, but Skrtel's been at fault in several games where he does that as well. Indeed.
And then in the Chelsea game, 2 shouts for a penalty, weren't there, on Suarez. John Terry, firstly, was an obstruction at the very least, wasn't it, in the box? Yeah. And then the Eto'o incident, which you mentioned, were they both worthy penalties?
No, I didn't think the first one from John Terry was. I felt as though there was contact, but I felt as though it was an aggressive challenge and don't expect to get them, certainly at a big team in Chelsea. Second one, Eto'o, he doesn't need to make the challenge. Howard Webb's 4 yards away. You can see the incident, and yet he doesn't give it, and no one understands why he doesn't give it at all.
No, strange, isn't it? Howard Webb's obviously taken advantage of this transfer window and has gone from Man United to Chelsea, because he didn't give United anything against Spurs, did he?
First signing of the January window.
Indeed. So Liverpool now, they're sitting 4th.
Yeah.
As we said, top of Christmas, 4th place. And that's 4th place, incidentally, despite having Suarez, Sturridge and Coutinho, they've only played together for 132 out of a possible 1,800 minutes this season, which is quite an interesting stat.
Yeah.
If you had those 3 on the pitch more often, they'd score more goals.
I think the worrying thing, obviously, is the size of the squad at the moment for Liverpool. The fact that we've had such tough games in that period, and it is physically and emotionally draining to go to Man City, to go to Chelsea, and keep raising your game. And that's why that Hull result was a fantastic result, to go again and beat a side you expected to beat. But having played City and Chelsea and to get the players up for it again with so many injuries, you look at the starting 11 against Hull and there's 3 or 4 players that would be nowhere near the starting lineup. If we were at full strength, the fact that having to play players like Sissoko, Ashpas, these players, we're having to utilise these, and no disrespect to them, but can't really see us getting in the top 4, playing them week in, week out. So it's an important transfer window where we do strengthen the squad and hopefully get a few key injuries back. Steven Gerrard came back off the bench against Hull for half an hour. He's a key player returning, and obviously that left-back position is a key one to sort out as well.
Yeah, I think Gerrard, we thought before Boxing Day that we hadn't missed Gerrard at all because the goals have been flying in, but you see in those really big games, that's where your big player would normally have stepped up and maybe just given you that little extra, wouldn't he? So maybe Gerrard is more important than people gave him
He haven't
credit
got
for.
away with it against Tottenham, and fair play to the midfield in that game. Lucas Henderson and Joe Allen, superb. But then, like you say, to do it consistently, which Steven Gerrard always has done, you know, you do really miss him in those big games where you need that leader, and he is a bit of an aura figure on the pitch. You know, when Chelsea know Steven Gerrard's on the pitch, it's a different ball game. But sadly, he wasn't there. But it's good to see him back in the side, and no doubt he'll play some part in the FA Cup on Sunday. Yeah,
if Liverpool's current points per game ratio continues, they'll reach 74 if they continue on their current path. That'll be the 5th best Liverpool have ever achieved since the Premier League was invented. And 74 points would be good enough for 4th place in every one bar one Premier League season. So it's still looking pretty good for 4th.
Yeah, I think the points side, no one's bothered about the points. It's about finishing 4th.
I've done some research here. I'm bothered.
I know, but you know, like you say, you said someone's finished on 74 before and not got in the top 4.
But only once in Premier League
history.
Only
once, but that once is not what we don't want to be the second team to achieve that. We want to be the team that achieves top 4 this season, whether it's 69, 79, however many points it is. I think it'll be smaller this year because it seems like everyone's taking points off each other at the top, and it's all about finishing the top 4 place, and it's going to be a real fight to the end. But obviously the news, Suarez before Christmas signing the new contract, that's a huge relief that we don't have to worry about losing our best player in the Premier League, and hopefully he can attract, and Liverpool can, some better quality in January.
Yeah, 74 incidentally has been good enough for 2nd on 3 occasions.
We'll take 2nd. We'll take 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
Points,
we'll take 1st.
Points stats not so irrelevant now, eh? So just tell me about the whole game. You said earlier how important it was after 2 defeats to come back with a win. It was a kind of an ugly win. I said before we went away on our winter break that Liverpool hadn't really had an ugly win all season. It had either been sensational or poor, and this was one they finally sort of dug in and ground it out. 2 set-piece goals.
Well, I didn't go to Anfield. I actually went to watch Stoke versus Everton, but I watched the game on Football First on Sky Sports in the evening, and it was a comfortable victory. I mean, Hull didn't really threaten too much, and it was quite weird to see Hull wearing a blue kit. It was almost like, are we playing Chelsea here or something like that? Obviously nowhere near the quality, and it was quite interesting from the start. It looked like there was a few ex-United connections, Steve Bruce, Alex Bruce, Chest, and it looked like they were out to kick Luis Suarez early on. They were kicking him for every chance they got. Luis Suarez seemed to be getting booted all over the place, and I think they were fortunate not to get a few more yellow cards than they did, certainly in that first half. And I mean, I think Brendan Rodgers said before the game, Suarez was struggling with an injury. Most players probably wouldn't play, but because of the competitive nature and the fact he wants to be out there, he got on with it, and in the end he proved to get the decisive goal, that 2nd goal, which killed Hull off. And again, it was another fantastic free kick. We've seen it so often with Luis Suarez, but again, it was a fantastic goal. Yeah,
20 goals for him now at this stage this season. He's done it in 15 games. Kevin Phillips held the record before that, and it's taken him 21 games.
You should have saved that one to ask that question, who it was. I wouldn't have got anywhere near it. But,
so I've got another good question for you.
But I think the thing with Luis Suarez, 20 goals this season, he's got to win every award going. He's been the best player by a million miles in the Premier League, and you know, obviously last season he would have won all the accolades had he not done that stupid thing at Anfield against Chelsea. But he has been absolutely brilliant. I think Liverpool fans have really enjoyed going to watch him this season. I know I have, and he is such a special talent. And if you get the chance, just get yourself to Anfield and watch him, because he is such a brilliant player.
Indeed. When is the PFA Players Player of the Year? When do those voting ballot papers go? It's quite early, isn't it?
Well, it's funny because I think the press seem to think it's in January or something, but it's usually about early March that the players get the ballot forms, and they have a week to write down who the best player is. And more often than not, the players are fairly honest about who it is. It's not a case of United not voting for Liverpool, Liverpool not voting for United players. It is a fairly honest vote by all players.
That's interesting. So by the middle of March, it's done and dusted.
Oh well, yeah.
So Suarez has a very good chance of taking that, I would imagine. Now then, just very quickly, Brendan Rodgers, how many Liverpool players has he given debuts to?
Well, he gave 7 last season to young players from the academy. I would, in total, including, I'd say 20.
Oh, not bad, Mr. Mellor. 21.
21.
Brad Smith was the 21st.
Forgot about Brad, so there you go. I would have been right. but it's pleasing to see a young player. He's an Australian, but a young player getting a chance. People were probably saying, why did Brendan Rodgers throw him in? Obviously, there's a case to say to the board that we need to strengthen the fact that he's having to bring players on like Brad Smith against Chelsea. But Brad Smith's the quickest in the football club. He's quicker than Raheem Sterling, Brad Smith. So for me, it was a ploy to perhaps just do something different against Chelsea, where it's completely unexpected. They wouldn't have expected Brad Smith. Didn't get to see the pace that he actually has, but he's one for the future. He's a left back, and he's a good player.
He's a left back, is he? That's his position.
He's a left back. He's come back from a serious injury, so he's still a young player. Tough game to get thrown into, but he's got a bright future if he keeps progressing well.
And Liverpool need a left back, so we keep hearing.
Yeah, certainly do.
Is that one that you'd transfer window time? Is that the position number one you'd want to see strengthened?
I think you'd say John Flanagan's injury was an untimely time to get the injury. He was just doing so well in that position. Almost a chance to kind of make that position his own. He gets injured, and I suppose Brendan Rodgers got to look at other options, and Sissoko's been disappointing since he came in on loan, and he's probably not the answer for that left-back position.
No. And just before we move on to Everton, little quiz question for you. Which player in the Premier League scored the most away goals in 2013?
It's not Luis Suarez. He scored them all at Anfield, so I will go a clue, maybe a team.
Well, Liverpool, there's your clue.
Okay.
That's sealed it for you, surely.
Daniel Sturridge?
Daniel Sturridge, yep. 12 away goals Daniel Sturridge scored in 2013. Robin van Persie got 10.
Well,
There
we need to get him back fit as soon as possible.
Yeah. And who was the only player to score a Premier League hat-trick in 2013 and not be on the winning side?
Lukaku in the 5-5 with Man United last game of the season.
Very good. Have you been looking at my notes?
No, I'm sure I heard that stat before when I've done research for a game.
Yeah, all right.
Sunk in there.
Very good. Now, Romelu Lukaku, he went 524 minutes without a goal, which is a drought by any standards, and especially by his standards, because he's been knocking him in for a couple of years now. But he did score, which gave Everton the points in the one game they managed to win over Christmas. But where do you assess Everton's form now? Obviously, that last-minute equaliser at Stoke was vital.
It was vital. I'd say it was a disappointing festive period for Everton. The fact that they're getting beat at home to Sunderland, who probably are going to get relegated. Obviously, the sending off didn't help with Tim Howard going down to 10 men for that amount of time. Dominated the game, and the Sunderland keeper being man of the match, making some fantastic saves. But getting beat to Sunderland, I think it would have been the best home record for like 50 years or something had they won the game.
It would, yeah. 1962. It would have been their first unbeaten calendar year at home since 1962.
But it's a really tough place to go, and then they go and turn over Southampton, and that was a big game because they had a few key players missing. They had Barry out, they had Howard out, Jagielka, who's a massive player for Everton. Having all those key players out, that was a fantastic result for Everton. You mentioned there Lukaku getting the goal. Lovely ball inside from McCarthy, and Lukaku dispatched it, and that was a minute or so after Southampton had got an equalising goal. Got to question the goalkeeper with Tim Howard out. Rob Les, got to save that. Got to save that in the Premier League. You can't be chucking goals in like that. And then I went to the game yesterday against Stoke, and Everton completely battered Stoke with possession. Didn't create that many clear-cut opportunities. Morales hit the bar, hit the post. Everton looked like they were going to win the game, concede a goal. A little spy from Liverpool, Assaidi.
Agent Assaidi.
Agent Assaidi. He's got too much time on the edge of the box, and a nice little finish. And it looked like the game was going to finish 1-0, and Everton kept going and kept going. Some great defending from Stoke. They got so many bodies behind the ball. It was trying to break down 10 men. It was extremely difficult for Everton. I was surprised. Martinez, he takes Lukaku off, brings on Jelavic. Jelavic hasn't scored a goal this season for Everton, I'm thinking. And he looked out of sorts. He struggled to control the ball. But Baines had a superb game. He ended up scoring the penalty. Osman, our substitute, won the penalty. And
Agent Pennant involved there, I think, wasn't he?
Pennant, yeah. Well, I don't know what he's doing. Osman was going away from goal, and it was a clumsy tackle in injury time. And Everton deserved that. You know, they played well, playing some very good football. Just the worry is not creating enough clear-cut opportunities, and that's the only question mark I would have over Everton at the moment.
And there was never any doubt about that Leighton Baines penalty, was there? He scored 11 out of 11, the only player in Premier League history never to miss
Well,
penalty.
people were saying that Everton haven't really missed Baines, but they have missed Baines because Oviedo, who was filling in, the Costa Rican, did a good job, but Baines is such quality down that left-hand side. Gets forward and he was superb yesterday, and Everton will be grateful to have him back inside. But we've got to mention the new partnership for Everton at the centre half, because Distan was injured, Jagielka, they've been a real rock for them. They need to get them back fit as soon as possible, because Alcaraz, not sure about him, and young Stone's done well as a young player, but 19, it's a big ask for him. So Everton need those two centre-backs, Distan and Jagielka, back as soon as possible.
Indeed, yeah. Asaidi, by the way, he's scored 4 league goals now, which only Sturridge and Suarez in the Liverpool squad have scored more than him, so he's the Liverpool player with the 3rd most league goals this season.
And he's done it against teams we want him to be doing it against. Chelsea, scored the winning goal, took points off them, took points off Everton yesterday, so as long as he keeps doing that, that's fine by us.
Yeah. And Everton now, they've had 10 goals from defenders. We mentioned Seamus Coleman before Christmas, he scored another cracker. Against Southampton, Baines
was a cracker. That was an absolute cracker. The goal against Southampton, cut inside, and that was right in the top bin. And I think someone said 60 grand he cost from an Irish club. I mean, that was a great bit of business from Everton. Yeah. People are saying he's one of the best fullbacks in the league, and he's a real attacking player. I mean, Everton have a lot of joy down both flanks, and it's because of the fullbacks, the attacking power they have with Baines and Coleman.
Yeah, he's got 5 league goals now, Coleman, more than he scored in the previous 4 seasons put together. Everton are 5th, and just looking at the bookies' odds in terms of title chances, the bookies have Everton at 7th, which seems a bit harsh with Spurs and Man United both being rated above them by the bookies. You know, where do you see Everton now in terms of top 4? Is there still a chance for them, or do you think maybe they may have faded?
No, definitely it's a place for Everton in the top 4. I think the top 7 will change positions, but that will be the top 7 at the end of the season. You mentioned Man United. I still don't think they're good enough to get in the top 4. I think it was a big ask for Moyes, whoever went in there, to take over a team which Ferguson's controlled for so long, and a new manager with his new ideas. It's going to take time, and I think if Man United get in the top 4, that is a hugely successful season from Moyes. I just don't see them getting in there at all. I think Everton, they have a realistic chance to finish above Tottenham and Man United this season. It's going to be a battle again with Liverpool to see who finishes in those top 4 places. I think Arsenal will have a little dip as well. I think Chelsea and Man City will really kick on in the second part of the season.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? Very interesting indeed. We'll just mention Tranmere before we go. A decent point for them against Wolves.
Yeah, we said in the show just before Christmas, identified the 1 out of the 3 games, the away game at Shrewsbury. That's where they needed to pick up the points. They did do, got a fantastic away victory, got battered away at Sheffield United. But then it was a good point against Wolves, both teams down to 10 men, and our man Ryan Lowe scoring, getting a goal disallowed as well. But that was a really good point for Tranmere, still hovering just outside the the relegation places, but they need to be picking up points at home, and 3 of the 4 next games are at home, so they need to make full use of that home form. Yeah,
Tranmere's only shot on target, that goal from Ryan Lowe, so you can't argue with his conversion rate there. Kenny, what's he got now? 15, is it? Or
15 more? For the season, in a struggling side as well, so
fantastic.
It's a good return.
Indeed. Okay, that's it, folks. We're going to keep an eye on the transfer window as we go through the next week. We're going to take a little break after the FA Cup weekend. After Christmas, we need another break, don't we?
Certainly do, yeah.
It's been heavy going. So we'll see you the weekend after next. Have a fantastic first week back at work. Hope no one's too stressed out. It's not very nice, is it, this time of year? We'll see you next time. Thank you to Ruby's Cafe in West Kirby. Thank you to Colin Bailey for filming it. And thank you to the T Street Band for this music. Goodbye.